Welcome to the tutorial for citing your sources. You will cite sources in your informative and persuasive speeches. There are three types of citations that your formal speeches will include: works cited, internal references, and verbal citations. Let's begin with works cited. Works cited, otherwise known as a bibliography or bibliographic reference, is a list of the works that you use to research your speech. They can be put, for the purposes of this class, in MLA or APA format. Here's an example of MLA format for a works cited entry. For help with writing your citations, you can use noodletools.com via your library's website, or go to noodletools.com. Or you can use the Cite or Cite Now button that's found in many of the online databases next to the journal article or book that you're using. Don't just list the website as a URL pasted at the bottom in your works cited. This is incorrect. Next, we'll talk about internal references. These are also called in-text citations. They are brief notations in your formal outline indicating with which works cited entry a main idea or detail belongs. There are two ways to use internal references. If you are paraphrasing something or referencing a source repeatedly, you should write it like this. Write the quote or paraphrase that you would like to use, and then in parentheses, put the author's last names followed by the page number. The other way to write your internal reference would be to write it as you would state it verbally during the speech. For example, you would write, according to Hennessy and McCleary, geography researchers for the University of North Carolina, in their article, Nature's Eden, the Production Effects of Pristine Nature in the Galapagos Islands, if nothing changes, the formerly unspoiled terrain will be lost. This brings us to verbal citations, also called vocal citations. They are verbalized, out-loud explanations of who the source is, how recent the information is, and or what the source's qualifications are said during the speech. You should share at least two pieces of information. By pieces, I mean the author and the title, or preferably the author, the author's title, and the title of the article, the title and date of an article, the name of a report and the institute that conducted that report, or the owners of a website and the title of that website's page. Another example would be Joanna Berry, president of the Galapagos Conservancy, stated in the fall 2012 edition of the Galapagos News that this would be another example of a verbal citation. Sometimes you come across a source within a source. This is called a secondary source, and there is a specific way to cite it. For example, if you were to read this in your article, you would see that there are two secondary sources in this sentence: the state of Ecuador and UNESCO. How would you cite that if you wanted to say what the state of Ecuador said? Well, you would say, according to Hennessy and McCleary, geography researchers for the University of North Carolina, in their article, Nature's Eden, the Production and Effects of Pristine Nature in the Galapagos Islands, the state of Ecuador declared the archipelago to be at risk. Don't leave the primary source out of your verbal citation. Your verbal citation should clearly match a works cited entry. Also, don't state your works cited at the end of the speech in lieu of verbal citations throughout the speech, such as getting to your conclusion and then saying, I found my works from this source, and this source. Instead, you will state your verbal citations throughout the speech. Lastly, don't confuse a verbal citation with your credibility statement in the introduction. While credibility is given to your sources through verbal citations, you still need to state in the introduction why you personally are a good source of information. This concludes our tutorial on citations. If you are unsure about how to cite something either in your works cited, in your outline, or out loud, email your instructor to ask.